lights turn on. Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
You should be fairly awake because it's after coffee o'clock. Thank you for being here. This is a topic on which I could speak for days. So it's really tough for me to narrow it down to an hour and 15 minutes. But we're going to try. I know many of your faces, and many of you have seen your courses and worked with them. And so some of what you hear today you may have heard from me before, but I hope you hear it in a different way, or maybe put a different spin on it. This is going to be an experiential class, and we don't have as many people as I had thought we might, because I was hoping we could all sing. So I may volunteer you to be a demonstrator with your voice. So don't be put off by that. I'll try to be sure to ask somebody I know who can sing. So today we're talking about the fascinating topic of blended ensemble sound. Woohoo! First of all, do we know what it is? What do you think it is? What is blended sound?
Makes my ear feel good.
Makes your ear feel good. That's awesome. I'm adding that to my script. What else?
Along those lines, I can feel somebody else's voice coming out of my mouth.
Somebody else's voice come out of your mouth. Their voice, your mouth. What else?
Awareness.
Awareness of what?
Everything. Awareness of what I'm doing as an individual.
Awesome.
And then taking that and turning it into an awareness of the sounds that are coming around me that adaptation will need to take place and or fix or whatever to kind of expands out from that.
Awesome. Yes. So it's like those concentric rings, right? It's like Janice said, it starts with you and it goes out. It's not you singing in a silo. It's not 28 silos on the riser. It is, what we're looking for is the sound of the ensemble, not the individual voices. That is essentially what it is, right? So those of you who know me know I'm not big on scripting, so I had to write some things out for myself to give you prepared remarks. We are a vocal orchestra, striving to bring unity to a collection of different types and shapes of instruments. Some are brass, some are woodwind, some are percussion, and they don't last long in barbershop, etc. How do we achieve ensemble blend without compromising the individual quality or the integrity of these personal instruments, without manipulating a singer's sound, possibly causing vocal damage? We're not looking to make everyone sound the same. You would not want to hear a symphony of oboes, not for very long. You would not want to hear a march of just trumpets, right? The beauty in the symphonic sound, and we are a symphonic sound, is the collection of individual different qualities of the instruments. And what we need to do is to make them blend together into a harmonious whole. So quality of sound resulting from good vocal skills is the first consideration. Several other factors affect the development of a blended sound: a common approach to tone production, a freely produced sound, and unified vowel production. The sound judge, this is some new language in the sound category that I pulled this from. The sound judge will not reward a combination of voices that are poorly or incorrectly produced simply because they are matched. Matching is not the end-all be-all of blended sound. It can match, but still have vocal issues, right? It could still be strident. It could still be unresonated. It could still have a sense of out-of-tuneness, right? So, what are the elements that go into a blended sound? Yes?
So, this was put to me about a year ago, and I really loved it. It run well with me. Is be a chord singer, not a part
be a chord singer, not a part singer. That's
Yes.
cool. What does that mean to you, Bianca?
That means that each, as you're listening, that for me it's an internal sensation that I feel, and it's like taking the ride together. You are like so in sync with each other that each one of us, our voices aren't sticking out and poking out.
Correct.
Of course, all of the other factors have to be there. You have to be in tune and all of that.
Yeah.
But it changed the way I approached singing and the way I approached directing. That
Cool.
mindset.
Good. Yes, because there is, above all, a blended sound is accurate in many respects, right? So there is horizontal accuracy of the line, the part line that I am singing. I hit the targets at the time I'm supposed to. And then there is vertical accuracy as opposed to, as it relates to chord strokes, right? So there's all kinds of things that have to happen simultaneously for us to have accuracy. I can't believe I did not bring a sound score sheet with me today. But if you look at a score sheet, many of the categories, all the categories have a dashboard up here with elements of the category and then writing down here, right? On the sound score sheet, we have vocal skills, we have artistic sound, and we have accuracy. And that's the way our dashboard is laid out. And I don't know if it was the luck of the draw with how it had to be printed or what, but I love the fact that our score sheet is laid out this way, because this is a continuum of factors that have to happen based on what level you're singing at, okay? If you're singing at a lower level, the weight of your attention needs to be on vocal skills, developing that, unifying that, making that an intrinsic part of what you do. If you're highly accomplished, this stuff is in the bag. And you need to focus on the artistry and the musicality, right? And in the meantime, on your journey from here to here, there is a whole big laundry list of things that affect harmony accuracy. Harmony accuracy is always, always, always present in everything you do, no matter what level you sing. And there are a lot of things that go into that. What of those things affect a blended sound? A lot of them. Chief among them because I don't have it in front of me, I should know this off the top of my head. So the accuracy column is notes, chords, intervals, tuning, sync, intonation, vowel production, tone production, balance, those kind of things. Section accuracy, part accuracy. Those are the things that make up the accuracy part of that center column. So when we start to talk and work with our singers on developing our chorus blend, there are some things that we need to remember. The first is we don't want to damage anybody's psyche or voice while we're going through this process, right? So always your first charge is to do no harm. With that in mind, remember, everyone is a hero in their life. Your voice is perfect. And everyone is needed for us to make an ensemble, right? So, like I said, we're not looking to change the quality of a person's voice. We're looking to enhance it if it needs improvement in any certain aspect. And we're looking to we're looking for the commonality of voice production and tone production that makes it work in synergy with the other voices in the chorus, okay? So many ways to go from here. So blend is the combination or mixing of voices so that no singular voice or voice quality is distinguishable from the group sound, sort of. So it's like there's nothing that distracts your attention from the overall sound of the chorus. So like if you were listening to an orchestra, if you're listening to the Boston Pops, you have an assumption about the quality of the sound that you're going to hear from them, right? If you're listening to a high school orchestra, you might hear some qualities that distract from their overall symphonic sound, right? So that's the kind of thing that we're talking about. How do we take the distractions out of that high school orchestra sound so that we can make the Boston Pops? All right, so with that in mind, talking about accuracy, what kind of things can we say are accurate? Pitch has an accuracy. A vowel choice has an accuracy. A resonance choice has an accuracy. Word sounds have an accuracy, articulation. Intonation, how you produce sound, has an accuracy. What else? Rhythm. Not my category, but yes. Yes. So rhythms and different patterns. So that also is contributed to by whether it's a homophonic or a polyphonic sound. You know the difference of that? Homophonic means that we're looking at all voices lined up in chords. Polyphonic means that there might be a lead line and a pattern, or something that we're not looking just at straight chord to chord to chord to chord. Right? Cool. What else? Does choreography contribute to accuracy? Yeah, movement. Movement definitely can either enhance or not enhance accuracy, right? That is likely when my head pops up when I'm writing a score sheet. Is I'm like, oh, what are they doing that makes that suddenly not be chords? And yep, they're doing some great, overly ambitious choreography plan. Cool. What else? Anything else? Okay. So let's talk about voice production, because that's the foundational piece that we're looking at to match when we're trying to build our blend. We're looking for a freely produced and relaxed sound, not manufactured. When you try to have someone make their sound like somebody else's, that implies effort, doesn't it? And what does effort equal? Tension, exactly. So that does not promote a freely produced sound. So what we want is to try to enhance and make a person's sound singer friendly to the voices around them. Like I said, we're not singing in a silo. Someone who has a voice that's hard to blend is probably singing in a silo. And that's as much mental as physical or vocal, right? Bianca, will you be a guinea pig? Come. I picked her because I could. So, friend, we're gonna demonstrate. What can I sing that is in your range that I can actually match? Tomorrow's Another Day. Because I did not bring an actual. Right. Okay. So we're going to sing just our natural voices, and I want you to observe and write down some adjectives to describe what you hear. And if you start to have a thought about what is or isn't happening, this is how you start to identify what you need to work with, okay? Tomorrow's another day. I hope and pray we'll be together. Tomorrow is today. Will be a yesterday that's gone forever. Now you know I don't sing lead. Okay, so what did you hear? It was amazingly good, actually. I was kind of surprised that I was able to, I had to like, ooh, really try not to sing like you.
I was gonna say, I could feel the tension of you both trying not to start blending.
Yeah, yeah.
I was trying to find your space, so
Yeah,
I
not
was
happening.
looking for that, I know.
She
Yeah.
didn't give
I
us
did
the
not,
ending.
I did not let her in my sound
Yeah,
at
I was
all.
like-
I was definitely in the
So I was
silence.
like, okay, yeah.
Which
And
was
I was
awesome
thinking,
because
okay.
we used to stand next to each other, and it was
We did.
awesome.
It
Yeah.
was fun. Those
So,
were such good memories.
what else did you notice?
You were not in sync.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
Which
Word,
is-
word sounds
Word
were
sounds were very different.
Yeah. Cool, all right. So, what would you tell someone if you heard this disconnect happening? How would you approach telling someone what they needed to do to try to blend into the common sound? Assuming that Bianca is the common sound.
Listen.
Listen. What's listening gonna do for me?
Sometimes make you late.
It does. It does.
I'm guilty of that all the time.
Yeah.
Because you're a baritone, Lori.
Yes.
But you kind of have to listen before you can join.
You do.
That's kind of what I was, I mean, you're right. If you are listening to match Bianca, you're gonna be a heartbeat behind her.
Correct.
But if you let her sing it and then join her singing it, you'll have figured out where her tone placement is.
Correct. So as directors, when you start to do this kind of foundational work, unfortunately, you're gonna have to sacrifice some time to the process because it's not gonna be instantaneous. And if you're trying to work it during a rehearsal, you're gonna need to allow for some iterations. Okay, because the first one you'll hear is not gonna be as successful. So you have to let them feel, process, experience, and then try to integrate.
So,
Okay? Yes?
how important is it, I went to a class a long time ago with Peggy Graham, where if there were problems, she would,
Switch sides.
you know, moving people around makes such a dramatic difference.
It does.
Sometimes. Is that something that you would wait to do, or?
We're gonna talk about that a little bit later.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Yes, so we're gonna do it again, and I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna take your advice and I'm gonna listen. So now, tell me if anything I do is different. You just do your thing. Try to ignore me. Tomorrow's another day. I hope and pray we'll be together. Difference?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So what feedback would you give me?
Relax.
Relax.
Trying too hard.
Yep.
But I'm on the right track,
Yep.
right? Okay, so let's say weeks have gone by and we've worked this technique, and I've been practicing at home with my dog. And I think I got it, so we're gonna try it again. Okay, here we go. Tomorrow's another day. I hope and pray we'll be together. What'd you hear?
Expanded sound.
Yeah,
More freedom.
I could feel it,
yeah.
your
I definitely-
voice right
I
here.
definitely felt yours too.
Coming
Yeah.
out of your mouth.
Yeah, yeah. So there was like, I could tell myself go when it hit my brake. But other than that, I think I faked it pretty well. So what did I do? Can you?
Well, I heard, number one, you were listening and you were softening up, okay? And you were focused more that way, okay? If I were to ask you to go somewhere else, I would say you also came back with your sound and didn't use as much air, and it lost the ping that you had in the beginning one, and you gotta put some more of that back in to match her.
I changed my resonance,
Yep.
You did.
basically,
You did.
right? So resonance is amplification of sound in the vocal tract, okay? The vocal tract is a closed system, and the air and vibrations resonate in various areas. And that time, I definitely did more mouth resonance to try to match her. And I kind of cut off my nasal resonance.
So, just a question about producing sound. I have changed a little bit of how I approach singing to try to be more of an ensemble singer rather than Bianca.
Uh-huh.
Here she is. So I have tried to modify that frontal piercing kind of thing.
Nasal
So I don't want to be.
Nasal mask resonance.
Would you find that that was too much from me?
Knowing your voice, no,
There's a real
but
warmth to
you
your
can
sound.
make it.
Yeah,
You can add,
It's something I'm working
you
on.
can add this.
we're gonna do a little
More
exercise.
head, more space.
We're gonna do a little exercise on that. Yeah, I think we have time to do that. So, we'll do a little exercise on that. So yes, I went more totally to mouth resonance, okay? So laryngeal resonance is the lower tract. Yeah, oropharyngeal, the laryngeal, oronasal, okay? Throat, mouth, mask, nasal. So I did much more of the mouth resonance that time, okay? And I kind of shut off my nasal resonance to try to match her quality. So this was me trying to match her quality. Okay? What I need to do is try to see what can I make my voice do with its normal thing. Like Mike said, I took out some of the ring of my voice to try to match her. So let's see if I can make my natural voice match with hers rather than me trying to match with her, okay? Tomorrow's another day. I hope and pray we'll be together. Sorry, that's my break note. So, especially when we hit pray, did you hear the ring hit on that? Yeah, so was it a different voice quality than when I was just trying to match her and using
Yes.
only mouth resonance?
And I tried to add more height in my sound this time.
Yeah, cool, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Lovely,
Beth.
Anna. Woo! So I gave you a handout that looks kind of strange and odd. Is this one? So this is essentially the mouth. Okay, so the back of the mouth working towards the teeth. All right, so when you're trying to get in touch with where things happen, the easiest way to invoke it is a starting consonant and noticing where that hits and what triggers it and which resonating cavity is it trying to access. So for instance, Bianca's rich sound happens a lot more back in here because she has a lot more in touch with her mouth resonance, right? And her lower resonance. That's, yeah. Mine happens a lot more up here because when I sing in that range, it happens for me a lot more on the hard surfaces at the front, except when I try to sing lead in that pitch. So let's do some of this. We're gonna walk through this, okay? So I just want you to notice the sensation of what it feels like to walk this across your mouth. I'm gonna start over here with NG.
So now, did you hand those out?
It was in the handouts.
I didn't sign any handouts.
There was a
They're
link.
online.
There was a link. There was a
Yeah,
link.
take the camera, take your location.
No, there was a, I thought somebody sent a, did I have another one?
No, don't worry about it.
We're gonna take a picture of it,
Okay,
'cause
it exists as a PDF.
we have the technology.
Good, awesome, good. All right, so let's walk it. Okay? I'm going to start with NG, and that's like if you say hung and hang on the NG, right? Hung. Okay, so go. Feel where that is at the back of the tongue. What's the back of the tongue doing?
Lifted.
It is, but it's not clenching, is it? Okay. Now say ga, 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 ga. Where is that happening? Kind of the same place, a little bit forward,
Yeah.
right? Now ka, 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 ka. A little bit more forward, right? Da, 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 da. That one jumps all the way to the front of the hard palate, that bridge behind the teeth, right? N. Where is that?
Right.
Some people are feeling it here. Is anybody feeling it here? T. Ta, ta, ta. So the ones that are plosive or fricative, weird funny words, means not singable. Do it with a sound. Ta. Here we go. Ta, ta, ta. Right behind the teeth, right? Ta. Let's change to V. It's kind of the first one that's involved the lips. Now we're starting to get outside the mouth, right? Let's go to B. Ba, ba, ba. Now do va, 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 ba, ba, ba. Let's feel the difference, okay? Va, 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 ba, ba, ba. Difference, okay? P. Pa, 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 pa. Even further, right? And then M. That's that profile. Where else are you feeling the M? I'm feeling it up in the nose area. Good.
So is it typical to feel that more lower in your range, or is it just mean that you're not as free when you get up in your higher range if some of that buzz goes away?
It tends to be more available in your upper range,
In your upper
just because that's where you're singing, right? So let's do a slide on an M from low to high. So did you feel it move up and move back down? Right? Do it again. And feel it go down into the larynx, right? Cool. Cool. Yes.
Now, as a bass, I lost that frontal feeling as I went up because that was not a happy place for me.
Because you did not open up your nose to do that, okay? So if we go, nee, nee, nee,
That's what I was saying.
nee, 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 right? Singing good makes your nose run. Okay, so if you pinch your nose, there you go. Now, the idea is you want it all to happen here. You don't want it to happen here. Okay? So do it first on just E. Now put an N in front of it. Now look it up. Can you keep it there? Or does it want to go down here?
It wants to split.
Okay, let's go higher.
but staying on the end is what I couldn't do.
Yes.
I can do it on an open vowel.
Okay. So that's a learning for you
Okay?
that you're going to want to not let the consonant be the distraction. Yeah.
I think also, there are some consonants that are easier to sing from the open space, and some that we automatically bring our chin up higher, and is one of those that we do that.
Yes.
So if you sing
B.
sing it here, don't include your jaw in almost any of these,
Correct.
because that automatically closes tight, it adds muscle, and it tightens up the space, tightens things down.
I like an N rather than an M.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why.
Yes.
That's
And,
right.
So if you did a B, is that easier? Try it.
see, that sounded like a P out here to me.
Yeah.
Same general area,
I know that.
right? Same general idea, not a singable one that's going to maybe involve the tongue to close off an airway, right? So try it with a B or a P, whichever is comfortable for you. Now do. The B got it there for you?
So I lost, I had COVID and I got vocal problems.
Uh-huh.
And this is one of the things she has me do, and I go, ooh, so that the B does that for me.
Nice, gets it out there. That's nice, good. Yeah, sirens are always really good. Sirens are good, and a staccato on a note is good as well. Cool, good. So much to do, so little time. All right, so let's get back to Becky's idea about changing places. So where you are can change your sound too. You know this when you've done riser placement in your chorus, right? So if we want to maximize whatever our chorus sound is, whatever you determine is the chorus sound, how are we going to do that? We're going to, I made myself some little risers if I can get to it. There it is. We're going to, we may have to take it in stages. We may have to start by having people stand in sections on the risers, right? So that we can build the unity of the section before we ask them to split and be a standalone unit among people of other flavors, right? So what do you think is the best standing in sections layout on a riser? Let's talk about it. There's a couple of different ways, right?
You mean like front of the head, back
So
of the
if
head?
you-
type
if
of
each-
thing?
No.
Like tenor.
Section is
Oh,
together.
okay.
There's the lead, bass, always in the center. And then I would put the baritones by the leads and the tenors by the basses. Why?
Because the basses can benefit by singing into the tenor over
There's
top.
that, and there's also a lot of octaves that happen
Yes.
between tenors and basses.
Yep.
Why would I want to put the baritones on the outside of the leads? They do a lot of switching, but they're also, the leads and the basses are sandwiching the lead. The baritones and basses are sandwiching the lead sound a lot, okay? So that would help to enhance that. So that's one option if you're gonna stand in sections, which is good when you're learning a song or trying to build a sound on a song. Or like Mike said, after they work in sections before chorus, maybe start this way and then break out into a standing order. Another way to do it would be like leads and basses in the front, baritones and tenors in the back. That's one way to do it. Okay? Another way would be straight across the rows. And I would put the tenors in the back. Again, because if they can, open the overtone stack and provide the gateway to overtones, that would be awesome. The bass is in front of them, again, because there's octaves that happen there, and the bass is keeping the sound open up through the overtone stack would be great, so they don't put a lid on it and shut it down for everybody else. And then the leads in front so they can hear everybody's sound, and the sound focuses through the leads as the identity of the sound. So that's an option, right? So, thoughts, questions?
There are a lot of factors. Well, for example, last Tuesday, what's that, 2 days ago?
Yeah.
Anyway, the last rehearsal that I had before we're supposed to sing tomorrow, and at the end, I moved the chorus into sections because of the numbers, and to be brutally honest, and since none of them are in here, to consolidate the lead sound more.
Yeah.
And it worked very well. The setup, looking from the stage out, on the stage left side, I put the leads there, I put the baritones on the stage right side, the basses are in the middle, and the 2 tenors that I had were in the back with 1 bass between them. And it balanced things much better, and again, it helped consolidate the sections. I know it does the same thing in quartets. When I was singing in a quartet, I had to stand to the left of the lead.
For your musical ear?
Because of the way we hear and heard. And you know, I can mess with his mind and screw him up anyway, but no matter where we stood. But he really glommed onto it by that one place. And believe me, we tried all sorts, you know.
So probably for his musical ear, you had to be
More there,
Yeah.
but yes.
Yeah. So yes. So sometimes we get complacent with what we think we hear, what we're used to hearing. So sometimes you just have to shake it up. Maybe you need to reverse the rows, and the front row stands on row 5 and everybody inverts so that you hear something else. Or the left side of the chorus switches with the right side of the chorus so that you can shake it up and hear something differently, because we do have one ear that tends to hear more musically than the other. It's not the same on every person. Sometimes it changes depending on the song. Yes. So that's why standing orders are not gospel. If you're singing in a quartet and it's not working, try a different standing arrangement for that song. There's nothing that says you can't do that, right? So, Becky, why, you asked, does this help? Yes, it can help. Why does this help? Number 1, we're hearing something different. Number 2, we have the synergy of perhaps like vocal qualities enhancing each other. And when I sang with more resonance, did it sound like more than the 2 of us when Bianca and I were singing? Yeah, so if you can sing, if you can match resonance, it sounds larger because there's more dimension, and resonance is an amplification. It's also a dimensional issue with space, right? So if I'm going to start doing riser placement for your chorus, I might put we're going to say, pretend like that's the center. I might put the strongest singers, like a quartet, there and build out from that. So that's a possibility. If I've ever done riser placement in your chorus, you know that My system is color-based, and I pick the colors to mean something to me, but not much to anybody else, and people get wigged about it, but deal with it. The other thing I might do is place brilliant voices in the center. If the chorus is predominantly brilliancy in the voices, we're going to need to find a way to not overload that, but to use it as a plus in our sound. Otherwise, it could be just like a lethal weapon of mass destruction. If that's all we're hearing is just the brilliance coming at us, right? So if you have a predominance of brilliant voices, then you're going to place some of them strategically, and you're going to put in there blending voices. Okay, that will help round out the edges of all that brilliance. And blending voices can also be an anchor for people to latch their resonance onto. Bianca was the anchor for my voice because she has a lot of resonance in her voice. So I was able to let my resonance out and anchor it to hers. And that's what magnified us, right? Make sense? Okay, so there are whole classes on riser placement and whatnot. It's a whole philosophy, but basically it's trial and error. So you need to be clear what the qualities of the voices in your chorus are, and then strategically place them. And what are we looking for? We're looking for no one vocal quality to stand out from the blended ensemble sound. Right? That is the ultimate goal. So we're going to do, let's do an exercise together. And I'm going to walk you through. You need to know what it feels like to change the resonance of your voice and the evolution of that in your voice, okay? So, everybody stand up.
Oh, thank you.
It is cold in here.
So we're going to do a variety of exercises, and I'm going to give you a physical thing that I want you to do with me, okay? So, I hate tomorrow's another day, so I don't want to use that. Can we do, my country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. That's all we're going to do. Okay? So we're going to walk through a variety of dimensional scenarios. Okay? First, we're going to do a two-dimensional piece of paper. Put your paper up. And I want you to sing like a two-dimensional piece of paper. Here we go. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Right. Not very enjoyable, was it? And we heard a ton of voices in the room, right? Okay, cool. Now, acorn, or walnut, whatever, right here, small nut, right here. Sing the shape and from there. Of the walnut. Here we go. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. You see how much smaller our sound got? Because we were constrained to that size of container of our sound. But was it more enjoyable to sing the walnut than the paper? Hopefully the answer is yes as we go along. Okay? Cantaloupe. Right here where the rib cage comes up. There we go. And my country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Good. What'd you notice? More sound.
Easier.
Also, your air went down to there too.
Mhm.
Right. You weren't just shallow breathing. Excuse me. Okay. Now we are going to be standing in a big pumpkin, the middle of a big pumpkin, and the big pumpkin is all around us. Here we go.
My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing.
Okay, I want you to breathe and sing in the pumpkin. Do that again. Here we go, Anne.
My
There we go.
country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing.
Breathe when you need to. Yeah, what'd you notice? Yeah. So is there a sensation dimensional difference for you with this progression?
Yes.
Okay, that's a good answer. Cool. So now we are in a hot air balloon. Okay? And we are the little flame in the middle of the hot air balloon. Okay? Here we go. Breathe when you need to.
My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing.
Good. You're going to do it again and breathe after liberty because you're running out. You're short in the space. Remember that it's all encompassing and you're totally suspended in the center with that little flame. Here we go.
My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing.
Cool. Two-dimensional piece of paper.
My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing.
Hot air balloon.
My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing.
Good. Sit down. What'd you notice? What'd you feel? What'd you hear?
More
Light.
more part of a whole when we're singing the air balloon.
Yes. What else?
Liked the balloon.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that was,
Yeah, we like the hot air balloon.
yeah, that was a really good visual.
Yes.
I didn't get stuck on my break because I had the space open for me to sing into that note I didn't want to sing.
And your voice and your body knew what to do to get through that
This
passage.
felt like little kid.
I'll have to try it at a break. It wasn't at a break.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
that's a
it was
good
at a
one.
break for
For
me.
you.
That's a good one. So
It's not a happy place.
I feel like you still held back. I didn't feel like I got full voice presence as we went through that exercise. So I would, if you do it again, sing with your full voice at whatever you're doing. Okay? Your voice is your voice is your voice. And all we're doing is turning volume knobs up and down and changing resonance assignments based on the music. Yeah, Bianca.
Can we try again and do, the barrel and the hot air balloon at the same time?
Sure.
I want to.
Did that speak to you more?
Well, I just think I would like to feel what that feels like. I mean, the dimensional paper thing, I often just, with the chorus, for example, teaching the chorus, I feel like sometimes everybody's kind of singing to themselves.
Very.
Right here, and I think that's the dimensional paper thing.
Yeah.
Where you're right here, and the sound isn't like even going past, even to me, let alone past me.
Yeah.
So that, I'd like to feel the both of us together, if we can try it.
Yes, they should always build on each other. It's not ever one only. Okay, we're building. What was I doing when I did this exercise? I was moving you through essentially the depth of breath, right? And this is a big airbag, but a lot of times we don't use it all. Okay, so the pumpkin definitely gets you into the full airbag, right? Yeah.
I find when you just use the pumpkin though, my voice has a tendency to be back in my throat, whereas when you add this, it brings the brightness out.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes as you get in touch with your body is your whole body is your instrument, right? And the airbag is part of it. So as you get in touch with different things that you may not have used before, you may cut off something else. And so like Mary Ann said, you gotta make sure that not only are you using the breath, the depth of breath, you're also using the three-dimensional of sound and space of the hot air balloon.
And I think, really, sometimes, the light bulb goes on for different people at different times.
Yes.
And it's really essential that you go through all of those and feel all of them,
Yes.
so that you can really understand what it takes to produce that sound.
Sometimes when I do this exercise, I direct the chorus to breathe and sing from wherever we're using our hands. That's why I ask you to do the shapes with me. Because if you breathe and sing, if you're consciously breathing and singing here, you're only getting this much air, right? You're only getting this much air. You're only getting this much air. But if you're getting this much air and sound and space, what does that do?
So you're not at full voice when it's paper.
Yeah, you are. Whatever you're doing is full voice.
I guess I
Whatever
like
your
to
full
use-
voice can accomplish at that
That's not
moment.
space, yeah.
I can't accomplish much when I'm two-dimensional, can I? My country, 'tis of thee, and I'm already pushing, right? So if I try to not push, my country, 'tis of thee,
Oh, it's kind of thin.
kind of breathy too, because there's no mechanism for me to support it, right? Because I'm only singing and breathing here in my mouth. And we hear that, don't we? We do. We hear that on the risers. So let's do what Bianca said, and let's incorporate the pumpkin and the hot air balloon. And I'm going to sing a different resonance than you and see if you can feel it. Okay? Here we go. Pumpkin, breath, hot air balloon, space, and dimension. Here we go, and my country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. What did you feel?
On the edges.
Yeah, you were the outlier.
I was the outlier, and I would scream off the risers out of the sound, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Right, let's do it again. Did the pumpkin and hot air give you a different sense of dimensionality than just the pumpkin or just the hot air? Yeah.
Well, first of all, this whole thing is a process to get you to where you want to be, and just remind, you can touch that. But what I heard, as soon as you added any concept of the pumpkin, part of you stayed in the pumpkin rather than everybody in this connected around you, which is the whole point between, if you are the flame, the balloon is all around you, so everything is involved. You guys left too much on the bottom, and so the top
So
didn't have nearly.
it was heavy.
It
Yeah,
was.
the
It was way
pumpkin,
ahead.
the balloon does not come from the waist. The balloon comes from the floor, and we're in the center of it, okay? Maybe that's the misconception that I didn't clear up, okay? So, doesn't stop at the pumpkin. It encompasses the whole body. Okay, so let's do the whole thing again, and I'll sing the whole thing. Here we go. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Hear how much more blended that is? There's still qualities that are coming out. You can sit down.
I've got tons of air.
Okay, so we got 5 more minutes. No, we have 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Questions? Observations?
I liked all of those analogies because you could use it with a chorus quickly for them to understand what the differences are.
And you don't have to explain what you're trying to accomplish.
What do you do with a person that says, I don't feel any different, this, they're all the same?
Then you need to say, cool. So that means that you're already singing with fully open resonance. Because I should not hear your voice sticking out.
But they probably don't know that they are.
They probably don't.
Yeah.
But as time goes on, if they are they sticking out?
Yes.
Okay, so as time goes on, if the rest of the chorus is choosing a different sound, choosing a different blend, they are gonna feel it. It's gonna be a palpable feeling, unless they're totally unaware of self. And all you have to do is record it and have them listen to it.
It's
Okay.
true, but when you record something, at least for me, when I play it back, all I hear is my part anyway,
Yeah,
whether
know.
I'm singing out or not.
And you know, recordings also compress to the middle,
Yeah, yeah.
and they pick up the treble. Yeah, Jen.
I was just gonna ask, is the voice that you're speaking of an outlier on the risers? Would it help to put them in the middle of the sound and let them hear what's happening around them? Even if it's just, you know, trial. I'm
It's
gonna
just,
put,
I mean, there's nothing bad with what I hear necessarily, they do stick out, so we work on the blend all the time, but no matter what exercise you try, they don't feel
The pain
anything,
lip
they don't
service
see
to it.
anything, they're the negative Nancy over
Yeah,
there.
Marianne.
Doesn't that come along with what Mike said, awareness?
Yes.
You know, you have to be aware of what's going on around you, not only just zeroing in on your own little voice.
Not only aware, you have to be willing to engage in the process. Yeah, Mike.
I would go one-on-one with that person, but part of the issue is, what you hear when you sing of yourself is not
Yep.
what is happening externally.
Thank you for the segue, because that is the next thing we'll talk about.
And that's huge. That's where the recording can make a big difference. But if you have the trust of that person, you can move them into other areas and get some changes happening. And when you find the one, no matter what she feels like, when you find the one that sounds free and has all that stuff, you have to reinforce within her brain that it's okay for it to feel that way.
So here's
Not
another
necessarily
probability of what's happening, and the next thing we're going to talk about. I would hazard a guess that she's pretty happy with what she hears in her head of her sound,
I would guess yes.
which means all of her sound is staying in her head, in her mouth, and not getting out to blend with other voices.
What's
Okay.
interesting, I think, is her sound has changed.
Yeah.
I think it used to be different and it's changed to be harsher.
Oh, so she's gotten some kind
I
of
think she's gotten more
instruction
confident.
somewhere.
She's gotten more confident, so she's singing out more.
Okay, cool.
She's
So,
less reliant on the people around her to carry her part.
okay, well, yay.
That's a good thing, yes.
Now we just need to say, okay, now that we've accomplished that, let's refine the quality of your voice sound. So a lot of what happens as singers and overachievers, which we are because let's face it, we're here, is we want it to be perfect. We want to hear it really great, which means we're hearing it in our head, which means our ears are lying to us because our best sound shouldn't be in here. It should be out here where our audience is. Yeah.
And also, I was told years ago that by listening, waiting for it to be perfect, I was late.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And there are,
Let's line up the chord. Oh, now I'll sing.
so, you know, I think that it happens a lot that when you're working on something and you're in the middle of it and you're like, yeah, I'm doing that. Mike, you coached whatever quartet I was in, I don't know, it's probably 10 years, or, you know, one of the many. And he insisted I was scooping, and I said, no, I'm not. And he said, yes, you are. And I
Thank
went
you.
back and I listened to my recording and I was scooping. But every time I did it, I could not tell I was scooping until I listened to it from the outside, and then I had to apologize and say, oh, yeah,
Right,
you're
right,
right.
huh?
Oh my God, he was right.
Yeah, so
Every time.
blend can't happen unless the voices are in a common space, correct?
Mhm.
I can't blend with you if your sound is in your mouth. And you can't blend with me if my sound is in my mouth, right? That's where we're back to our silo. Your ears also lie to you. If you're only singing in your mouth, you don't know if it's your best sound. Like your friend might not know. She might think that's wonderful because her bone conduction is telling her this is really great. Whereas out here, it's not because we're not hearing the best of her sound. So if you can encourage your singers, I always talk about it being like a stew pot, and you're gonna put all your meat and your vegetables, or just vegetables if you're vegetarian, into the soup pot, right? Because this is the product that your audience wants to hear. This is not the product your audience wants to hear, okay? It's the ensemble sound that we're looking to present to our audience, right? So,
How do you help the person that really thinks she loves her voice? And she sings it out just like an arrow to the back of the room. And how do you teach her to get this fuller sound rather than just sending it out?
So there's a couple of ways. The building of self-awareness about your voice is personal, and it's hard, and it can be painful, because we all want to think that we're Barbra Streisand. Or pick your famous other voice that you want to emulate, right? So you need to have a feedback mechanism for that person to hear more live what it sounds like. I would suggest bouncing it off a hard surface. So either singing in the shower where the tile makes it obvious and amplifies it. Stand close to a wall. My country, 'tis of thee. My country, 'tis of thee. First one I was in the front of my mouth. The second one I was outside of my mouth. Difference? And that wall gave me feedback. Okay? Coming from a place of loving feedback, having a buddy that can say, yes, that was it. Not quite, but you're getting close. You're still making something happen with the quality of your voice. It's just not all there yet. You know, somebody who can lovingly give feedback one-on-one. Because you could damage a person's psyche.
Well, that's it, because they think they're
They
doing
do.
it right, and they're very happy with their sound, and here you come.
Come here. Are you singing bass now, Mary?
No. Not quite.
Okay. All right, so if Mary Ann and I were going to do this, then sing at me. So let's do the My Country. My country, is that more comfortable?
No, I'm a
You're a tenor. My country 'tis, my country 'tis, let's do it there. Okay, you sing outside of your mouth, and I'm gonna sing inside my mouth. And then you're gonna tell me what you experienced of my voice. Let's keep. Here we go. My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing.
I hear it all right here. It's
Uh-huh.
not getting out there. It's not.
And it didn't tune very well either, and it didn't match at all, right? So then you would progress to try humming it, because when you're humming it, it will place it in the right place. So I'm going to hum and you sing. Here we go. My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. And then you would ask, what did that feel like? Because the person needs to know what it feels like so they can recreate it, right? So for me, I felt like I was much more in tune. Was I much more in tune?
Yes.
Yeah. And I started to feel the sound come this way more, less in my mouth. Okay. Now I'm going to try to sing with you. Here we go. My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. What'd you notice?
Were you singing louder?
Nope.
Then it made it far bigger.
Resonance, amplification.
What's that phrase? Like approach to vocal production?
Yeah. Common approach to vocal
Common
production.
approach.
And a common approach to vowel production. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so there are things that you can do without saying words to try to coax it out of them. Humming is always great because it will, if it's done properly, take the tension out of the sound. It will place it in the right place for that instrument. And it will give them a sensation of it being in a different place than where they're loving it. Okay? So humming is always really good. Cool. Questions? Thoughts? Strategies? Many. So I gave you another handout as well. This is kind of just if you want to make a game plan of things to do. I gave you this. Microphone. Got used to that. Yeah, I know. It's like you're a detective. Okay, and so you have to go on the hunt for finding the problem and finding a solution to it. Okay? One of the things when I started judging that I struggled with, the old score sheets were laid out in such a way that it was like, okay, all these things over here were the elements of the category. So a judge told me they're like the signs and symptoms of what's going on. The narrative is like the diagnosis of what you're hearing. And then we used to have summary statements. And that was the prescription for what to do to move on. Okay? So I've always remembered that and used that. And I kind of use that as well when I put this document together. So we're going to observe our singers, which are, we're looking for the signs and the symptoms of what we're hearing, right? Alignment, tension, breathing, mental attention, quality of sound, degree of accuracy, congruency of sound to the music or the artistic plan of the music. How do you observe? You need to identify how you observe. What type of director or listener are you? And I gave you some choices between critical listening and analytical listening, and there's a difference between the two, and they're kind of surprising if you read them. Then we're going to identify, after we've observed and found some characteristics of what we heard, we're going to identify and diagnose what we've observed. Pick 2 or 3 areas to focus on. Don't go overboard and have a 20-point plan, because it'll take you 5 years to do it. We want the biggest, best bang for the buck. Is more than one area affected in vocal production? Is there more than one approach required? Is it a layering approach? Do you have to get a foundational thing done before you add on this? Sometimes a new quartet comes, like I coached a new quartet yesterday, and they said, we work on blend and ring and unit sound. And I'm like, okay, let's see if that's where we are. We might have some other things we have to work on first. And we did, like notes. Okay? So you can have an idea, a grand idea of where you want to start, but there might be a more basic foundational level that you have to start at. Then you have to come up with a plan. Make a prescription. What's the kindest, best, easiest, most efficient method to introduce the topic and the need for improvement? Who is the recipient of this plan? Does it address their needs? Does it encompass different learning styles and abilities? Because that's another thing. You have to make sure you make it in language or examples that they will accept with their learning style, right? And then you have to implement, and that's the treatment. Do the work. Why are we doing this? When will this take effect? Do you need to change something in the way you direct? Is something you're doing causing the sound that you're hearing? So this list of kinesthetic movement, I'm not a director by any stretch of the imagination, but these are some techniques, some visual and physical things that you can do maybe to change your hands to elicit a different sound from your singers. Anything you can do to give them a visual feeling of doing something different with their sound. And if in rehearsal they do it with you, it might also help to further that change, right?
I have a question about
Yes.
one of these. North of the hands, does that mean over the hands? Okay.
Not down here,
Right, okay.
up here.
Well, okay.
Questions? Thoughts? There is so much more that we could cover. I had to narrow it down to these kernels of wisdom. Just know, everything affects the ensemble sound. Whether you have tension in your feet, whether you have tension in your throat, whether you're breathing and holding with tension, that will affect the sound. The three greatest tuning errors that affect the sound. If you were on I think I did a Zoom class earlier this summer and talked about this. The three most egregious tuning errors that occur are pitch related, which is obvious. Vowel mismatch is one of my biggest pet peeves as a judge, as a tuning issue. And resonance mismatch. You heard me do it several times. My mismatched resonance caused tuning issues. Yes? So if you can, the more you can make a common approach to how you produce sound as an ensemble, the more amplification you get, and your sound sounds bigger. It's like, sometimes I hear a chorus and I whip my head up to see how many people are on the risers, because it sounds like 40, and there's 23 of them. Because they produce sound the same way, and they've picked a resonance that really amplifies and makes dimensional their sound, and it's more than the sum of their parts. Yeah? Mike knows this, his chorus does this. Okay? So it's possible, and it's possible to do it with a small chorus. Bigger is not always better. Bigger is more voices to go wrong. Right? Questions? Yes?
Kind of more of a comment. I mean, when you talked about how the director can get in the way of what they want, what I found in the 6 months that I stepped forward as the frontline director is that my brain to my hands made sense to me, but what I had to define for the chorus is that I was not the previous director. So I had to set the lexicon of what this meant when I was doing this.
Correct.
So they understood what I was trying to get across.
Correct.
Because I could do this all day, and if they didn't know what it meant, it wasn't going to go anywhere.
Yeah, there's a vocabulary, isn't there? There's a directing vocabulary. There's a vocal production vocabulary of skills. So yes, you need to definitely make sure everybody is on the same dictionary of those skill levels. You also need to make sure that you're not doing too much. Okay, and that you tell them what this means. Yeah, the communication piece is big. And positive feedback always. Do not deliver bad news with a flaming arrow to the chest. Okay.
Get
Say-
rid of that walnut.
You do that walnut. You could definitely aim for that walnut, but you have to be really accurate. Right? So you want to try to, if you have to deliver bad news, you want to try to deliver it with a solution or a strategy to try something different. Okay, and you want to invite them to try something different. Now, the person who has no interest in trying something different, that's challenging. Not gonna lie. It's like, okay, so can we, for the sake of the chorus, try this one thing? And just see what it feels like and see what it sounds like. And you never know, if it happens one time, she might enjoy what it sounds like and feels like. That's the thing, people like hold on to it because that's my voice. My voice is my voice, can't do anything else with it, that's just what it is, it comes out that way. No, it stays in that way. But yeah, so if you can invite them to try, that would be awesome.
What does this mean on the bottom of it, this open hand for singing space? Or is that a directing thing, open hand for singing?
Is that what it says?
Yeah, open hand for singing space.
This was an old handout, I pulled it from, I gotta see if I can remember. Okay, so one of them was like, this is a space.
Yes.
Oh, had to be done. Like this is a space, and you want to sing here. You don't want to sing on the low side of it. You don't want sharp. So the C, that's the C one. Okay. Open hand. Is that all it says? It's
It
open hand?
says open hand for singing space, conduct sound through the space.
It's probably the same thing
That's
as the C.
Or is that the above or below?
Um,
There's another one,
It's
north
on
of
top.
hand.
That's the
Oh,
north of
okay.
hand. And then there's also the length of the arm or the length of the hand too. You know, so it's not choppy. It's like if you want to look auto sound, you might want to work on directing a length of the hand rather than like I said, I'm not a director. I pulled that off a directing handout from some workshop 20 years ago. So. All right, you guys have been awesome.
Thank you.
My email is on the handout, so if you have any questions, feel free to email me.
Do you have any extra handouts?
They're online.
Got it.